Then she hits on him, but he has other fetishes to sate his desires.
I need to find a horse.
What's up everyone, and welcome back to HateWatchers. Today we're pushing on ahead with our weekly breakdown and reviews of House of the Dragon, with episode 6 entitled Faceless Men. Let's get right into the breakdown, which means spoilers ahead. We begin with Criston Cole and the boys who have been playing army men all the way into the morning, and they find some other boys playing dead. Two of the boys appear to have gotten a little too close, so Cole separates them. All of a sudden, the other boys yell, "Time in," and attack. And Cole makes sure to say good morning to as many as he can with his morning star. Good morning. Good morning. The boys wrestle, and Cole eventually claims victory. But like in everything, he's premature. Ask Alicent. Reinforcements for the other boys surround them. Cole is happy it's his turn to play dead. He's overplaying anyway. Then a literal boy calls him out, while his senile old grandpa stands by his side, just happy to see all the boys getting along and having a good time roughhousing. But then Cole says time out, because he needs to blow his nose. When he's done wiping, he challenges the other boys to a duel, when a girl, who doesn't know the rules, puts an arrow through him. This is why we don't invite girls to play army men, Black Alley. As Cole falls, he's beginning to think no one noticed his white flag of surrender, and the other boys celebrate their victory, rushing in to get their grubby hands on the orange slices and bags of chips waiting for them, as Cole has to play dead. Back in King's Landing, some rat catchers are doing their rounds when they find the biggest rats they've ever seen. Daemon wants to burn the traitors out of Tumbleton, however all of the effeminate members of the council disagree, so Daemon tries to make a toast to their level-headedness, but the cup gets away from him. Then Daemon doesn't want to hear Rhaenyra's opinions, given all the hot air she's been blowing out both ends this season.
I'll hear no more from those whose greatest battle has been with their own indigestion.
I am of the same mind.
Rhaenyra denies the claim, but her argument soon falls apart.
And there we have it.
And Daemon gets sent to the principal's office yet again. Rhaenyra pivots and commands Alan to bring Velaryon soldiers into the city, and he says, "Oh yes, right away, your majesty." An envoy for House Baratheon has arrived in King's Landing because, like Rhaenyra, they don't know how to read a map, and they thought this was Tumbleton. But Rhaeray, more worried about her drip than ruling, uses the opportunity to expand her wardrobe.
Give me your belt.
Hugh catches up with Ulf, who's remembering the good old days of early Game of Thrones, before this shit show.
Hot pies. Took it all for granted, didn't we?
Then he complains about not being able to go to the bar, saying that flying his dragon sober is just boring. Rhaenyra visits Alicent after hearing that she's not happy with her stay at Red Keep Resort, and she tried to leave, but Alicent lets it slip that it's mostly because Helaena is pregnant and is making the vacation miserable. As soon as Rhaenyra is out in the hallway, she's already gossiping about how fat Helena's already getting and throwing out names for who the father could be, and within seconds, Mysaria is spreading the rumors around. Daemon is waiting patiently for the feast he was promised when some hungry gold cloaks show up, and they brought the tablecloths. When the food doesn't arrive, Daemon starts getting hangry, so the men set down their tablecloths and leave. Alan finds that, instead of teaching him to play catch, his dad has been pitching and catching with some hung dudes in the forest. And Alan, only recently having become Corlys's kid, has moved on to his teenage phase and is back-talking his dad. Tyland Lannister is digging a grave for this body, but he finds it difficult as Larys keeps asking him to bury the man with his feet sticking out of the ground. Tyland wants Aegon to flee to Thailand with him, and Aegon asks if he's trying to keep him safe or if he just misses the ladyboys he sailed with, and Tyland struggles to give a clear answer.
There is, in any one of us, much to admire and much to be deplored.
Rey Nettles is eating berries like she's Denethor in Minas Tirith when she spies two dragons in the distance, as we all thank our lucky stars we've been given such a tremendous character with a gripping storyline. Alice Rivers brings Aemon some foundation to help with his transition. Then she hits on him, but he has other fetishes to sate his desires.
I need to find a horse.
Well, that explains why he chose the horse-faced Baratheon to marry. The Lady of the Vale can't understand why after 4 construction projects there's still a super dangerous hole in the middle of her throne room. Then she plays the part of audience stand-in, slapping the shit out of Rhaena. We all needed this. Rhaena tells Jane Eyre that she saw a dragon in the distance, as her fantastic storyline keeps us on the edge of our seats. Alan wakes Bela's lazy ass up while she's playing hooky from class, and in her grogginess, she kisses him thinking he's Adam. Racist bitch. Gwayne has returned from his playdate with Cole, where Lord Douche greets him with a heinous quip about Gwayne, a honeycomb, and an itchy tampon. It doesn't land, and Ormund sees through Daemon's fake smile, so he devolves into just calling Gwayne gay.
I'm sure you found solace with some of your brothers in arms.
Which makes his next command for Daemon weird.
You might see Sir Gwayne to his quarters, Your Grace. Make sure he bathes.
In King's Landing, Helena weaves the tapestry from the show's intro, but it's all just weird bugs and stuff. Then she tries to end things in the weakest way possible, a move which makes more sense when Alicent sees the images of self-harm the weirdo is knitting. At Harrenhal, Aemond is preparing to indulge in his fetish when he gets caught, and Alice nut-taps the kid on the way out. Then Alice shows Aemond 5 dragon eggs that they can cook up. Aemond's a big growing boy after all, and she knows he's hungry. Then Aemond kisses his second old hag motherly figure of the season. Rhaenyra is fielding all of the common folk's concerns, and solving none, a service for which she charges 1 baby. When a sister of the Sept says one of their girls was taken after the City Watch disbanded, Rhaenyra promises to light one of Gwyneth Paltrow's homemade scented candles for her. But then, more worried about how she looks than anything else, Rhaenyra is embarrassed to find some of the raspberry jam from her morning hot pie on her finger. She continues to be a shit ruler as she looks up at her dad's statue and blames him, because she can't possibly be to blame. Daemon is looking for a new profession after being an eye surgeon and a barber didn't work out for him last week, so he's getting into piercings. He's not great at this either, but he keeps at it, leading to some mixed results. But when he finds Ulf playing hooky, Daemon tries out being a hall monitor. Yeah, this seems more his speed. In the Elysian Fields, Hugh the Hammer waits patiently for Grand Theft Auto 6, but it doesn't look like he can wait for the game any longer. So he switches over to 007 First Light, donning a disguise and infiltrating Tumbleton. Lord Douche asks Gwayne if he's enjoying his cup of man yogurt when his roasting is interrupted by the Baratheon envoy that finally found Tumbleton. They've come to get on their knees for King Daeron, but they're reluctant to do so when they find out he's a 15-year-old boy, thinking it might be inappropriate. Out of nowhere, Gwayne murders the lead envoy, claiming that they're assassins. Gwayne has his gaydar to thank for this revelation, saying that he knew the real Aryan Baratheon was way hotter, and Ormond's intolerance of Gwayne's lifestyle bubbles over. Hugh finds an easy-looking wench to plow in town, but it turns out to be his wife, so he just has to go with it, embracing her before quickly trying to get her on her knees. But all she can do is complain about all the walking she did to get here and, oh, she was assaulted a bunch of times along the way off screen because the writers are sick and insatiable. She says she's tired of him having his head in the clouds.
I needed you here, on the ground.
And after that terrible writing, Hugh just tries to shut her up. Seeing that Gwayne the gay has his uses after all, Lord Douche apologizes for all the gay jokes, and he seems to be turning over a new leaf, even getting a little gay himself. Alicent, hoping to at least get one of her children killed, tells Rhaenyra she knows where Aemond is. Rhaenyra asks how she knows this, and Alicent says Helena pulled it out of her ass, a claim which Rhaenyra immediately buys, from her sworn enemy who has been lying to her and trying to escape. Then Alicent grabs Ray's arm, and the guard says no touching.
No touching! No touching! No touching! No touching!
Later, Alicent is taking all of the food so that Helena doesn't get any. With her mouth not full of food, Helena takes the opportunity to ask why she was forced to marry her brother, and Alicent blames Grandpa because women aren't responsible for anything in this world of lies and flowers. But Helena stopped listening because she's playing horsey, while elsewhere her brother Aemond is playing a little horsey of his own. Then Rhaenyra begrudges her tiny son taking up such a big bed with his male privilege. And Alicent dons her most fetching coat, heading off to meet her warrior prince son with the largest dragon in the world and only 4 measly guards standing between her and freedom. And Rhaenyra gets a package, more clothes that she ordered, the latest vest from the Yeezy collection. Corlys gives a speech to his men about being good fathers and being in their kids' lives and validating them. And Sir John the Bull Roxton of the Deadbeat Dad Collection Agency can't take the irony, and he hauls Corlys in as the episode comes to an end. And with that, we've reached that point in the video where we have to decide if this episode was a great watch or a hate watch. And people said they couldn't do it, that it couldn't be done. But they pulled it off. We have 4 hate watches in a row. I'm just messing with you. There aren't many out there that didn't think they could do it. This one was a bit better than the last 3. At least a few more things are happening, and there are more developments to ponder and discuss. As in, pondering where they're going with some of this shit, and discussing how far they're straying from Fire and Blood. But at least some characters are trying to make things happen. That's a welcome change. The vast majority of the episode, however, was devoted to more character work. Yay. Of course, that almost entirely involves development of the characters and the relationships that the creators fundamentally changed from their book counterparts. And most of those changes were not improvements in the first place. And am I crazy to think that deep into the 3rd season of the show, these characters are largely developed and it's time to do things with that? We're literally watching the same scenes with slightly different dialogue over and over week after week. Hey, at least there weren't any assaults on women in this episode. Well, unless you count the off-screen assaults the disturbed writers retroactively added in for Kat. Excuse me, can someone go check on the Battle of Tumbleton? Is the Battle of Tumbleton okay? It's been missing for a while now. I knew when the midpoint of the season came and went without this event that they'd just sit on it until the finale and spend 6 episodes talking until then. Hey, you guys got a half-assed battle scene at the beginning of the episode. Aren't you happy? Do you like the show again? What more do you want? The in-world decisions are still too stupid to stay immersed in the show. Rhaenyra does nothing but double and triple down on her ineptitude, all of which is her own doing, by the way. Losing the gold cloaks, lighting candles for a missing girl, letting the rebellion against her rule fester while she has meetings and hangs out with Alicent. Alicent, who is keeping secrets from her, questioning her decisions, trying to escape, before Rhaenyra let her gallop out the front door. I know what they're going for in trying to draw Aemond out, but Team Black faced the same problem in the book, and the book was able to resolve that problem in a far less stupid way. What kind of brain-dead idiot would believe a claim pulled out of thin air from their political enemy who has been dishonest, and then send that prisoner who has been actively trying to escape out the front door? And probably the worst part of it is, there will be no consequences for Ray for this absolute stupidity, because the writers are too stupid themselves to see what a stupid idea that is. But the rest of us just have to sit here trying to dumb ourselves down to a point where this decision makes any sense in world. The throne finally cut Rhaenyra, but it came about 4 episodes too late, and it would have hit way harder if they placed that scene earlier in her rule. We've just spent 4 episodes seeing how terrible she is at this job. We don't need some symbolism portending that now. We've known it for 3 weeks at minimum. Sure, Ormund is undermining her rule, but Ormund isn't making her choose to light candles for a missing teenage girl, or making her alienate the wealthy, or sit on her ass while the city boils over. This is all her doing. She's feckless, and it's not interesting to watch. They'd be better off making her go Mad Queen and have her problems stemming from that. Or just make her fat and angry like in the book. And hey, remember when Rhaenyra made out with Mysaria? Because the writers sure don't seem to. And now Baela made out with Alan after Adam was laying it on her pretty thick last episode. So I'm predicting some pretty lame girl drama love triangle coming soon. In the Inside the Episode segment after the credits, Daemon's actor wondered aloud why Daemon would even waste his time in these small council meetings. Well, the answer is easy. The writers are stupid. And then one of the directors said that they used Daemon's first scene in the episode to show that Daemon was done with politics. No shit, he's been done for 3 episodes, but you people keep belaboring the point. It's not character development when we get the same dog and pony show episode after episode. And the last remaining villain worthy of fear in this show, Ormund, was unsettled by the smell of the assassins. If that's the culmination of Ormund's sensitivity to smells subplot, then it was stupid to give it that much time and focus. But if they do what I still think they're going to do, using some Looney Tunes plot involving foul odors to defeat him with a bucket of shit being dropped on his head as he whimpers, then it will also be stupid. The writers can't seem to stop themselves from writing the story into stupid corners. Now, I can't really figure out where they're going with the Faceless Men references. I'm inclined to believe that the assassins Rhaenyra sent were just regular men and not faceless men, because seeing the world's best assassins taken out so easily would be immensely stupid. But the traitors and killers in King's Landing seem to have had a very clear face, so it's still unclear if any faceless men are involved in the killings there. so I don't know who the episode title is referencing at this point. And who knows what they have in store for Corlys after his capture. Nothing like that happened in the book, and I don't have any confidence in the writers to turn it into anything worthwhile. Speaking of the book, let's get into the book spoilers portion of the video. As always, I'm only going to speak about the book version of this episode's events and won't go any further into the story in any detail. But nonetheless, here's a spoiler warning. So the episode began with Cole's death at the Butcher's Ball. This part was pretty close to the book version, even down to most of the lines of dialogue. Although the lines mostly belong to other characters who aren't in this show. So a 13-year-old gets to say the line about building a sept out of traitors' bones, which doesn't hit near as hard. And they changed Roddy the Ruin's lines a little bit, and made them a bit worse. When Cole says many of their men will die as well, the book version reads, "That's why we come. Winter's here. Time for us to go. No better way to die than sword in hand." Instead of the show version, which only has the first line and the last line, where sword is replaced with blade. It's minor, but I prefer the book version of this back and forth. And they left out arguably the best line, when after Cole is dead, Pate of Longleaf tells his corpse that he'll have no song sung about how bravely he died. And it was Red Rob Rivers and 2 of his archers that fired the arrows, not Black Alley. But the Rivermen playing dead, Cole getting shot down in cold blood, that was all accurate. In the book though, Cole doesn't make any kind of tribute to Alicent before he dies. Book Alicent is never sent out on some mission to draw out Aemond, but this show is obsessed with the relationship they've built between her and Rhaenyra, and they need something for her to do. The throne cuts Rhaenyra during her first day on the throne, the Goldcloaks aren't victims of a murder spree, at least not at this point, and they don't quit en masse, and the Baratheons' part in the story during this stretch is relegated to 1 line in the book. There weren't 5 dragon eggs stashed away at Harrenhal. 3 eggs did go missing, but that was decades earlier and under different circumstances. For everything this show has done with Alice Rivers that is not in the book, however, what she's trying to do with Aemond is not far off from the book story. And I'll wait until next week to see what the hell they're doing with Corlys, because it's so far off base from Fire and Blood that there's nothing to really say about it. Lastly, the preview for next week's episode teased a big event that may be in the offing. One that, if they do it this season, I think will be a massive mistake on their part. But that's all I'll say about that for now. And that'll do it for the book spoilers. As I said, it's getting increasingly difficult to compare this show to the book every week because the creators have just driven this train off the rails. But did you think this episode was ever so slightly better than the last 3? Where do you think they're going with Corlys' kidnapping? Will the writers find a way to push the Battle of Tumbleton into next season to make room for more repetitive scenes? Let us know in the comments. And remember to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to HateWatchers to stay up to date on House of the Dragon. Thank you for waiting for GTA 6 with me today, and I'll catch you on the next one.